Well, good evening, everybody. And Candy, thank you. You hear people talk about a 36-hour day. Candy certainly emulates that for all of us. It is really wonderful to see the result of the committee's hard work, and when I look at this full room, it's a big indicator of what we've accomplished. It's also tremendous to see all of you here, each and every one of you, and there's been a lot of traveling that many of you did to get here this evening, and I appreciate that. Let me also take a moment to recognize, as Candy just mentioned, the Easter Seal staff. We have over 200 professional staff who work for us in and around the National Capital area. They're employment experts, medical specialists, rehabilitation therapists, teachers, and mental health professionals. And I certainly would be remiss if I didn't mention the talented and skilled professionals who pulled this off tonight. Cherie, who came over and hugged me and said, "It's time, get up." You've got to get up there. So it just really does take all of us to make it happen, and I'm just thrilled to see you all here. They are an innovative team, and increasingly, many are veterans. But all are thoroughly dedicated to our work, and I can assure you, as our veterans tell me almost every day, we will never leave anyone behind. And although she is under the weather, I would like to mention and thank Deborah Mullen. Her support as honorary chair and the time she spent with us in our intergenerational center, as we literally had a war room, the planning that it took as we are transitioning from being a service provider strictly under government funding, where we know we must partner with government, but we must not depend on government. The day that Deborah Mullen came in, she saw leaders and specialists in veterans employment, wounded warrior issues, post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, in a room. Honestly, if there could have been cigar smoke pouring out from underneath the doors, that's what she walked into. And from that point forward, she inspired me and she encouraged us, and here we are tonight. Deborah Mullen has very high expectations, and rightly so, but she is, as I said, a tremendous source of encouragement. Before I say more, my most heartfelt thanks, and I know I speak for all of us, is to our servicemen and women and to their families. Service to our nation, this is today's business. We all know this, but it wasn't yesterday's. Service to our nation is a family affair. And Easter Seal's history, our commitment to families, has been a differentiating stamp. For those of you who have been around Easter Seals, no pun intended, but since we began almost 100 years ago. So I just want to thank all of those that I mentioned and just send my appreciation, our staff, our servicemen, and just say thank you. So I was speaking of family, and as I was preparing my own remarks, I was at home, and I remembered a pass my son Greg hung on his bedroom door 9 years ago. He has since moved out, but this pass will hang there forever. The pass was to the National World War II Memorial Dedication Ceremony on May 29, 2004. And Mr. Brokaw, of course, you are a very special part of that day. It was not an easy day for my dad. He was a World War II veteran. He was not well. But he would not have missed that tribute for just anything. I'll tell you, I was in my parents' home today, and they have both since passed away, and you wonder about things sometimes, but honestly, I walked in, and wasn't there a book about that day sitting on the counter as we're preparing to clean out the house? Well, on that day, he needed a lot of family support from my son, who's here tonight. Hi, Greg, wherever you are. And for my sister and some assorted cousins, but we got my dad to his seat, and all of us together were able to share that special day together. In my dad's mind, though, this special day wasn't just for him and even the other veterans, but it was a continuing part of how he imprinted his values on the next generation. Like many veterans, he didn't talk much about his service. I knew he chose to enlist at age 18, but for a long time I really didn't know much more. What I did know was that he was so proud of his military service and his accomplishments afterward. He attended Cornell, he became an SES in the Internal Revenue Service. He succeeded, and he was so passionate about our nation and passionate about our government. None of that surpassed the love that he had for us as his children and for his grandchildren. He was proud of how his service helped him achieve his potential as a man, a community leader, and as a father. He could provide for us, and his experience and success imprinted on me. And then in turn, I am imprinting on my children. What do we have? We have a cycle of his success, which will continue in my family for generations to come. So many of the veterans that we serve today are young, just like my dad was when he came home. Their experience will imprint on their children, one way or the other, and the cycle will continue. It is up to us where we end up. Your support of Easter Seals is not only for each of the thousands of veterans we serve in our employment program, but for their children and for generations to come. Think of that impact. Our work and your support is critical, absolutely necessary for the strength of our nation. If I leave you with one thing tonight, gosh help me, somebody's going to give me a hard time. I'm likely on my staff for saying this. But do not help for charity's sake. Do it to open a door, to help these families, and let's be sure we continue the cycle of a strong nation. Our vets, don't we call them our vets, are among the most capable and competent in our nation, and they are ready to go to work. Let's tap their potential fully to realize ours. Consider doing 3 things, and I promise you, your business and our community will thrive. Be like City and hire a veteran, work with Easter Seals, and find a match, and we will exceed your expectations. Support Easter Seals so we can grow. See, I'm getting back to that charity thing. But support Easter Seals so we can grow and continue to empower our veterans. And like Tom Brokaw and Gary Sinise and City, you can walk out of this room tonight and you can be an advocate yourself. I leave you with this, written here on the back of the pass to the World War II Memorial Tribute event. It's right here. I thought my cat had chewed it, but somebody said, well, probably it was the kids putting stick pins as they had it in the wall. But on the back of this pass, it says, here in the presence of Washington and Lincoln, one the 18th century father and the other the 19th century preserver of our nation, we honor those 20th century Americans who took up the struggle during the Second World War and made the sacrifices to perpetuate the gift our forefathers entrusted in us, a nation conceived in liberty and justice. We are now in the 21st century. What will we do? All right. So tonight we are here to award very special people and very special advocates. So I'm pleased to turn the awards presentation to the awards presentation portion of our program. And since 2004, the Advocacy Awards has recognized leaders in public policy and philanthropy who have helped to improve the lives of people with disabilities and special needs. The list of past honorees is distinguished. We will now present awards to our outstanding advocates for 2013. For our first award, it is our Corporate Advocate Award, City. We are pleased to honor City for its City Salutes program that Candy mentioned. It's a firm-wide commitment to making a difference in the lives of veterans, service members, and their families by providing career opportunities, community partnerships, financial products, and services tailored to meet their unique needs. I can frankly say that City's partnership with Easter Seals, serving DC, Maryland, and Virginia, has been a game changer. Their financial support and the leadership and wisdom of Candy Wolf. Thank you again, Candy. She really just spent an inordinate amount of hours with us. If you need an example, by the way, of leaning in, turn to Candy Wolf. Let me just give her another round of applause. Well, hiring veterans has been a longtime priority for City, which was named among the top 10 best for vets employers for 2012 by Military Times Edge. The company currently employs more than 2,000 veterans, and that deserves a round of applause. City's award will be accepted by their managing director for community development, Natalie Abadamarco, and presenting the award to City is Marine Corps veteran Sam Zayden. He is a prime example of what Easter Seals employment program accomplishes. After enlisting in 2006, Sam served tours in both Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. He received a combat action ribbon for his service in Afghanistan and separated the Marines in 2011. Following his separation from the Corps, Sam started working with Easter Seals Veterans Employment Program, and alongside his career coach, he attended employment workshops, updated his resume, received transportation assistance, and completed security and protective services training paid for by Easter Seals. Today, Sam is working for the United States Security Administration, and I'm happy to welcome Sam.